Hello and welcome to episode 63 of Masters of the Forge. At least I think it's 63. Is this 63? 64. 65?
This has become a bit at the beginning of basically every episode.
Wait, I got it. Hold on. Hello and welcome to episode 65 of Masters of the Forge. That's the episode it is.
You just have to say it with confidence.
Yeah,
people will follow you.
The unfortunate thing is 64 hasn't really been recorded yet, so we'll see how that goes.
Chronomancers here at Masters of the Forge.
Yeah, so it's just me, Adam, and with me I have James. Hi, James.
Hello, everybody.
Awesome. Well, I have to say I really appreciate you joining us for these Beast Arises episodes. James, I know it's morning there for you, and your pimp lifestyle doesn't brook no like early rising, so I'm sure. So
it's okay. Really I got those ladies out there making money for me. I can afford to stay home.
Are they like Yakuza? Are they like selling drugs? Or what's going on?
Daddy don't bother himself with those issues as long as they bring home my money.
Well, other than helping to fund an international heroin cartel, what have you been up to, James?
It's actually summer, so we're pretty busy at work. Hobby-wise, though, I just finished up a unit of Berserkers.
Would you like to making blood berserkers?
Something about your Yankee blue jeans. I can't
remember. Something Yankee blue jeans. See, I was wondering if someone was going to get that reference.
Kid friendly show here. So.
Yeah, when I posted my bottles up the other day, I'm like, finish the Yankee blue jeans. Like a couple people like, yeah, Yankee blue jeans.
Yeah. I'll make sure to name the champion Olaf.
Oh, and I saw that you've been pretty busy with your local club too, actually.
Yeah, Age of Sigmar is finally starting to get some traction. The engine's starting to rev up.
Yeah, we're getting some Age of Sigmar action in our area too. You had a special visitor this month too, didn't you?
Not anybody famous. I mean, Carl showed up, I guess, but I don't know how noteworthy that is.
Oh man, oh dude.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, he was here. He was here for a couple days checking out the island.
Cool, that's fun. Yeah, I'm sitting in a pool of my own sweat right now in the recording office. I am a giant puddle of gross at the moment.
Warm.
It has been really hot, but that I couldn't stop me because I had so much stuff to do for the Geekend. I had that Hero Quest project, which I was able to finish. I posted all the crap on 1 hour a night. Everybody seemed to appreciate it. Not just the players, but the people on 1 hour a night were digging on it. So I was happy.
right in the childhood feels right there. Like Hero Quest was my jam back in the day. That and Battle Masters,
dude. Yeah,
pretty much equal measures.
Hero Quest was, got a lot of people into D&D. Got me into D&D, and if it weren't for Hero Quest, I probably wouldn't be playing 40K. So
yeah, me too. Like we had Hero Quest when we were like really young, and then moved from that into D&D. Mm-hmm. And I never really knew they were connected for a while. Like I would only occasionally see glimpses of Warhammer stuff, and then as soon as I got to the point where I could drive and go to the game store, I was like, oh, it's all coming back.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. And now that I'm older, I kind of realize, well, this is really actually very close to old first and second edition D&D, where in those games the role playing is not in the rules really.
Yeah,
it's all in your there's nothing having to do with the rules really affects the role playing except maybe alignment, and even a lot of people didn't even bother with that anyways. So when we played Hero Quest at Geekend last weekend, I embellished everything. I did flavor text and did role playing and stuff. It was a lot of fun. And
nice.
we played again this past weekend too. I had a couple of the guys come over. None of us really had anything else to do, so we decided, what, let's just break out Hero Quest again. So we're like 4 adventures in. It's pretty fun. My buddy's kid played D&D with us a couple times, and this was his first time playing Hero Quest, and he kept on barging through doors and killing monsters with the elf. With the elf. And he kept on like running through the
learn your role, son.
We can't search a room when there's a monster present. And he's like, I don't care! Blood for the blood god! And he's running through, killing stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm laughing. Of course, I'm egging him on, but everybody else is like, no, step it! And then, like, towards the end, he jumps into a room, and it's empty, and there's no monsters, so he's like, I'm gonna search the room! I'm like, okay, you search the room. He pulls one of the treasure cards, and it's a wandering monster, of course. Orc jumps out and kills him, and he's like, no, what happened? And it was really great. He was mad.
Oh yeah, back in the day when the role playing was still harsh, like, now it's all, like, entitlement, like, no, it's supposed to be treasure, like, no, it's another monster, suck it up.
Yes. It was great. And, he learned a little lesson in consequences. Like, the interesting thing about Hero Quest, I mean, it actually says, like, when a character's dead, you can divvy up his treasure amongst the group. Like, like, and it really stresses teamwork and stuff. Like, it's really interesting how the game is built and really stresses the teamwork aspect. So I thought that was really cool. I think it's really showing what their intent with that game was.
Do you ever have issues with people trying to haul back like a metric ton of dead monster weapons and sell them for half price or whatever?
Oh, in D&D?
No, in Hero Quest.
No.
Because like you can sell your old equipment for half the cost that it's listed in. Mm-hmm. Like we always had this inside kind of joke, like just all the bad guys' equipment was, quote unquote tainted with chaos. So it's still something now that my local or my group from back home, still something now we say, like, 25 years later or whatever. It's like, joking around like, oh, I found this on the side of the road, like tainted with chaos, leave it there.
Oh yeah, so that's fun. I think we're gonna keep doing that. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah. But as I hinted at, I finished those 22 Shoota Boys, those Rogue Trader Shoota Boys. Did you see that post I put up this morning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still love those custom trucks.
Yeah, that's what those trucks were for. They're for those Shoota Boys, so I can kind of run a minimum boys CAD whatever thing, and they're great in there. Shooting, nothing quite like shooting 11 shootas out of a truck 18 inches. It's actually pretty great, just driving around putting bullets in dudes.
Assuming you get to drive for more than just the first round.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes that ramshackle though. The guys at the club recently have one of our newer orc players played in a team game against some of the guys, and they're like, yeah, I blew up your truck. He's like, no, I got a 6+ ramshackle. Like, boom. What? And he he drops the 6. He's like, ramshackle, and the guys yell across the room like, Adam, what's ramshackle? I'm like, it's only the most awesome rule ever. And like, what?
They need to give trucks jink.
Yeah, they need something.
How amazing would that be?
Like a 5. Well, some of the vehicles in the raid on Castoral Novum have a 5-up invuln save because it represents the truck getting, just like you shoot the truck and it just breaks a piece of nothing off the truck. Like, there's just so much crap.
Superfluous stuff. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I have been slowly removing layers actually from my paint on my orc paint jobs, particularly when it comes to the skin. I used to start with Caliban green and work my way up to I forget the name of it, but it's this pot of paint, right? I had It was Dark Angels green and Goblin green, and I mixed it together like 5 years ago, and I've been using that as my highlight color for that long, but I have slowly this is the first time I've just used that Dark Angels / Goblin green as the base, and I'm using Warpstone Glow as my highlight.
Oh, and so they're a bit brighter then.
Yeah, I've even gone back and repainted the skin on my older projects too, because I really prefer that bright highlight. So I've been working on that, and I think that's the way I'm gonna keep it from now on. I like the way it pops, and they really look orky. I know a lot of people prefer a more realistic look, but I kind of prefer this for mine.
Yeah, that reminds me. I painted a Dark Angel the other day, and it was kind of the same thing. Like I went a little too bright, so I ended up darkening it back down. But then with the edge highlight of the Warpstone Glow, like that pop, like you really need that. Like if you're holding it like an inch from your face, it looks better without it. But on the tabletop, like you want that like really sharp color to make it so it stands out.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So I don't know what I'm going to do next. I got 5 knights. I'm ordering another one. I don't even know if I'm going to buy a Lancer or a Castigator. I really want both, but I need to save for some trips I have coming up. So I'll probably pick the Lancer because I like the looks of both of them equally, and the Lancer's like a better competitive choice. So I think I'll just grab the Lancer. Say screw it.
I've not broken into the knight game yet. I'm kind of thinking my first knight's going to be a reward for finishing a Lion's Blade.
Yeah, well, I was at like 20 something completed model kits with like 3 purchased. I'm now at like 36/25 because I've bought the knights and I bought the 2 Calth boxes and
Calth just ruins that whole. Like, once you buy Calth, like, just forget about it for the year.
yeah, exactly. And I bought. I don't know if I told anybody this on the show yet, but it's been a long time since we had a proper sit down intro. Like I did try out Sigmar, and I ended up buying like more than half. Like I bought like 3/4 of a Seraphon army, so that's sitting on my workbench right now.
Yeah.
What did I get? I got like the Pterodon rider thingies. I got a box of the Saurus Guard. I guess those guys are really good. I don't know. They just
the Saurus minis are like, I'm not sure how good they are in the game. I haven't read their stats since AOS drop, but just the minis are so crazy.
They are amazing. Yeah, I got the Triceratops one. I want to get the super laser one, the Ankylosaurus with the super laser on it.
Yeah.
Because I want to put like
Bastillodon, I think it's called.
Bastillodon. Yeah, I want to put Necron bits on these guys.
Yeah.
And really play off the outer space, like old ones aspect of them.
Did you listen to any of the coverage or read the stories for the end times?
No. Oh wait, I heard they threw the moon at the planet or something. Right?
Well, yeah, it was part of that story, but the I want to say it was the Skaven were messing around with some of the Lizard Man tech that they found, and it's like they straight up contacted Eldar. It's like these elves started talking to them through the machinery that the Lizard Man had. Like, wait, what? There were a couple of good little bits like that, like crossover fantasy 40k bits. But yeah, so if you want to put if you want to have the old ones, you should put some Eldar runes on them too.
Nice. Yeah, no, I should. And I am going to be buying the I think I did say this last episode, but I'm buying the 40k scenic bases for the Seraphon. So the Sector Imperialis, I'm just going to scrape off all the Aquilas and stuff, and when I do a display board, it'll be like a crash spaceship. I think that'll be really cool.
Oh yeah.
And
you gotta get the Forge World Crash Thunderhawk tile.
No, it'll be more weird alien spacey type thing. And I picked up a Lord Croak for half price. So
he's a cool model too.
That was key, especially I got them in resin, so that was really nice. God, the store
for when you want to be the good guys, but you still want to have mummies.
Exactly. I looked at that model, and it is gorgeous. That is a gorgeous model. That is a really nice model, especially in the fine cast. It's actually really nice, and he's a mummy, so even if there is our miscasts, it really won't matter much.
For anybody that played D&D back in the game, you got a secret love for liches, and it's oh, he's a giant toad, but he's a lich.
He's a toad lich. That's awesome. Yeah. So I got him, and this weekend we have a friendly tournament, which is gonna be kind of a precursor to the Golden Sprue Cup GT, which I talked about last episode, which will be coming up in January. So I'm excited about that. But I have dominated this conversation for 15 minutes. So I think maybe we should go ahead and take a break, and we'll hear some messages. When we come back, we'll start our discussion on The Beast Arises, Book 4, The Last Wall by David Annandale.
Woo!
The Nova Open Charitable Foundation, NOCF, is proud to announce the opening of the 4th summer season on the 1st of July 2016. The Nova Open created the NOCF to promote the compassionate force of the worldwide community of tabletop wargamers and their willingness to support these causes. Since its inception, the NOCF worked with the miniature wargaming community to raise over $60,000 for charities such as Doctors Without Borders and the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. You can help by purchasing tickets for a range of raffles for armies and miniatures painted by world-class artists. There is a $10 minimum at checkout. Take your chances on any one or all of the nearly 20 online raffle items. Participants can purchase unlimited tickets at $1 per ticket for the following: the Bad Moon Squadron Orc Army, which is the NOCF Premier 2016 Consortium Army, Nova Marines Adeptus Astartes Space Marine Army, Mjolnir Space Marines Army, Flames of World War II Soviet Tank Company. In addition, only 750 tickets are available at $2 per ticket for the following special raffles: Infinity Achilles Limited Edition 10th Anniversary Edition Miniature, Horus Heresy Pride of the 14th Legion Detachment, X-Wing the Emerald Empire ships. Also, only 750 tickets are available at $2 per ticket for single model prizes. NOCF will raffle 11 models that winners can have delivered to their homes. Buyers can take a look at the models on the NOCF website. They will be shipped to the winner anywhere on the planet with deliverable address. Note that most armies include a storage case donated by KR Multicase. See the website for specifics. Help the mission, spread the word, share the newsletter, blog post, web post, Facebook away. Together we can make this the best fundraising year ever. Tickets for these raffles sell quickly, so make sure you pick up your ticket today. If you have additional questions, please email novacharities@gmail.com. To donate, visit our website at novaopenfoundation.org. Thanks for helping to make a difference.
Hey, Masters of the Forge listeners, are you looking to expand your Warhammer 40,000 gaming group?
Do you want to start a 40k club in your area?
Do you want the people you attract to be like-minded mofos?
Do you want to advertise your YouTube channel?
Or even attract more subscribers to your hobby blog or online community?
Then what better way than to advertise on the Masters of the Forge podcast?
All we ask of you is that you email us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com or message us on Facebook with a full text of your advertisement, including the region in which you live and any contact information people can use to get a hold of you.
We will have one of our many tech servitors read your advertisement on the air. We promise not to make fun of you.
Though we can't always predict the actions of our servitors, you really can't find good help these days.
No, you can't. All right, thanks for listening to those messages. And now I think what we want to do is go ahead and set this up kind of like we did the last few episodes and kind of go through each kind of plot point on its own, so we're not kind of jumping around. It's not like we're sitting here trying to read the book to you. Anyways, this is more of a book club discussion where we kind of discuss the salient points.
Yeah. Plus, this book had a lot of like it was weirdly episodic, and there were a couple ones that didn't really have anything to do with this book. It's setting up for the next book. Mm-hmm. So this book skips around quite a bit too.
Yeah, it skips, and it's not like book 3. Everything very much tied together. Everything very much was a single web. Where this book felt a lot like there were many separate paths, and rarely the twain shall meet. So I thought that was really interesting. The points where they do meet, we'll discuss those. The first thing I want to talk about, I think, is the Mechanica storyline, which is literally one chapter. But it does what it does is it makes it clear that our guesses about what they're up to were solidified.
Sneaky robots.
Yeah, they're sneaky robots. And it's the assassins on Mars, who have infiltrated with the Mechanicus, and Scalera Vero and Clementia Yendel. She's got a lot of consonants in her name. She's a Temple Vanis assassin. Those are the intelligence gathering arm of the Officio Assassinorum, and she kind of, if you remember Urquidex, he was the Magos biologist, who helped rescue Corlin in book 1. And he
and then promptly got told by Corlin that he would be ejected into space if he didn't take care of Laurentis.
Yeah. And Urquidex has been very concerned about the actions of the Fabricator General. And Fabricator General, if you don't know, is the big major domo of the Mechanicus. Like, this is the person who is basically the last line to the machine god. All right, so he's a big deal,
and a High Lord of Terra.
Yeah, and a High Lord of Terra. So yeah, he's no joke, and the and he's Urquidex has, I love how they use this 10th rule to justify espionage. Like, it's clearly what it's for at this point, right?
Yeah, I think it's more for whatever you need it to be for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like any rules like that tend to end up being like, it's like yeah, we're just gonna manipulate this doctrine to whatever best fits our need at this time, which is kind of, I'm not gonna go into the philosophy behind that because, I don't want to insult any of our listeners. I'm just saying that happens
blow
a lot.
Their minds.
So I thought that was really interesting, but at the end of the day, he does bring her down to the what do they call it, the Noctis Labyrinth, which is, the description of this is really cool. Where
that's right. You haven't read Mechanicum in the Horus Heresy, have you?
No, I haven't.
Oh, God, Adam, you're killing me. This would mean so much more had you.
Yeah, so I guess, apparently there are so many projects going on at once that it's hard for her to tell, even someone as smart as her, to tell what exactly is going on. But she does catch on that all of the projects that are being worked on right now in the Noctis Labyrinth are towards one goal, right? And I love the scene that that Annandale writes about, where all of these Magos are jacked in, and they're all of their will is bent towards the one project.
Yeah, Annandale does do a good job of making the technology seem like magic. Like it's all arcane, and they're plugged in, and everybody's covered in oils, and there's incense burning. None of this is necessary.
Yeah, Annandale is great for that, I think, because he does like to write for mythos stuff. So I think he's the perfect choice for doing that kind of writing. So yeah, it becomes perfectly clear once they actually end up teleporting Phobos from one side of Mars to the other.
What could go wrong with that, right?
Yeah, that's your experiment. What? Yeah, so
immediate earthquakes. It's not like Mars isn't volcanic enough. Like let's do this too.
Yeah. So I guess it was like a 22% attrition rate on Phobos. So like 22% of every being on Phobos died when that happened. And there's a little
acceptable
bit of
losses.
Acceptable
losses.
Yeah, acceptable losses.
We're within our operating parameters.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about the orc threat, I mean, I guess, that it was actually under the Fabricator General's minimum requirements, so they're just fine with it.
So then you the business side of you kicks in, like, well, if we still have a budget of lives, like what else can we do that kills people? We're under budget, we got to use it.
Yeah, let's see what else we can do. Freaking was that Van Auken, and he seems to have quite a high position now in the project. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, he's been put across as a totally dedicated. I want to say lackey because that's kind of what they are, but like he's the guy that you're not supposed to root for in the Mechanicum. He seems like the jerk, whereas Laurentis and to an extent Urquidex are the ones that you find yourself supporting because they're more trying to help Terra and not just like screw everybody but Mars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the really interesting part of it is Urquidex and the assassin come to this realization that the Mechanicus has been throwing up roadblocks to Terra, and kind of giving these fake requirements or fake
excuses to why they can't deploy their troops and not sharing their information.
Mm-hmm. And it's all in the name of gathering knowledge about the orcs and the orcs technology, and this is what they learn through Urquidex and Van Auken having this conversation in front of her,
even using that info to preserve Mars to the detriment of Terra specifically. So
yep, exactly. And
that conversation was set up really nice though. Like Yendel realized halfway through the conversation that Urquidex was having that conversation specifically for her benefit.
Yep.
So that was a really good kind of story device. Like you're not thinking in your head why are these two talking about this? They would know this and they wouldn't have to say this for our benefit. But having her there's a reason.
It's funny. I follow Annandale on Facebook, and he did post something about Bob. I guess that's like a trope in writing where that signifies someone who's having a conversation simply for the purpose of exposition. Well, you're right. Yeah. This is a great way. It is exposition, but on purpose, and it doesn't hide itself. It's like, yes, this is exposition because this is why we're doing it for you, but it's for another character in the book. I thought it was great. And I love how it explains the worst part about this is the fact that the Mechanicus wants the orcs. Oh, they almost want the orcs to conquer Terra so that they can see what other treasures of knowledge the orcs have come up with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the obsession with the machine god taken to the damaging level. This isn't positive. This isn't helping humanity anymore. This is just information for information's sake, regardless of the costs.
Oh yeah, it is above and beyond what we know about the Mechanicum as far as I read from the Mechanicus books that I've read. So it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane. I thought it was that one chapter had so many answers in it. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, the Black Library stories are some of the best around for the there are no complete good guys concept. Like, even obviously everybody's rooting for the Imperium because we're all humans, but even within the Imperium, there are plenty of people that are enemies and bad guys. It's not just, really static, like humans versus aliens kind of thing. It's like you're fighting within ourselves or amongst ourselves as well.
Yeah. So let's switch gears to Captain Corlin, who very quickly becomes Chapter Master Corlin because everybody's dead, and he's also becomes at great length and with great kind of like political machinations within the Astartes, the commander of the task force of the Sons of Dorn.
Yeah, him becoming chapter master wasn't as de facto as you might have thought it was. It's like, obviously that's a logic loop, right? It's like, I'm the last Imperial Fist, like of course I'm the chapter master. But again, that whole authority is all perception. So no matter how loud you yell that, if everybody else is like, yeah, no, then you're still not the chapter master.
Yeah,
you had to get a few of them to come around.
Right, and we've learned that through kind of some of the writings about like the Ultramarines and some of those other chapters, which are actually very political bodies, and chapter masters are sometimes selected. They don't just like assume the position. It can be very political, and in this case, it was somewhat political. But Corlin was smart. He chose his allies early, and they helped him kind of attain the position. And he didn't want to do it for greedy reasons. I think he genuinely believes he's the best person for the job.
Yeah, he does have some confidence issues here on out. But here, even here, he kind of had to be, I don't want to say talked into it, but it wasn't completely his idea, just from his conversations with Thane and Issachar. Like, he needed to know that other people kind of had a little bit of faith in him as well, because he's just so dejected from the destruction of his chapter, obviously.
Oh yeah, who wouldn't be?
Yeah. So him kind of stepping up to the plate is nice.
I thought that the best, like that was a whole cool thing, but I think the best Corlin moment was his conversation with Thane after they find out that Terra had been a quote kind of attacked, or a moon had appeared over Terra. His first instinct is let's get out of here, let's go fight them, but Thane stops him. He says, "Listen, what good are we gonna do? We lost an entire chapter to a smaller moon. Sure, we know some things, but what are we gonna do killing one moon?" And I love that because it kind of sets up the Space Marines kind of role right in this book, and it's going to be to kind of cut the head. Their whole goal is going to be finding the source of the power behind this action and destroying it, which is what Space Marines are meant for. Actually, that is what they do. You don't use Space Marines as shock troops. You use them to kill primary targets. Yeah,
he helps keep him focused on the big picture, not just reacting with this emotion, which is nice because for Thane's character, this is he just keeps coming in and out of this. Like him and Bohemond had that play back and forth twice in the previous book, or second book maybe, and now it's Thane and Corlin doing the same thing.
Yep.
The Space Marines, these captains, chapter masters, they need each other. It's which at any given time, one of them is reacting emotionally and another one is level-headed, and then it just flip-flops back and forth.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Thane ended up being, and the Fist Exemplar being the Imperial Fists after this series. That's just speculation on my part. So, again, in that same chapter, we have Laurentis, who they have this conversation with Laurentis about what the orcs are doing, and Laurentis is like, he's over the moon. Even Laurent, he's our kind of good guy, Mechanicus guy. He's still a Magos biologist though, and he finds the whole thing exciting. He loves it. He loves studying these crazy, unorthodox orcs.
Those lovable scamps.
They are such lovable scamps, and he tells them, he's like, listen, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Please forgive me. Like, he actually asks them permission to speculate, which, you get, it's some good writing on Annandale's part, because, Mechanicus Magos are probably a social faux pas to speculate something, right? Mm-hmm. They guess everything. All of their theories are based on data. And he's like, well, I think the best I can do is speculate at this point. And he says that the orcs are likely engaged in psychological warfare, which both of the Space Marines just sputter, like, shut up, stop it.
Well, he has a really good line after that. He just, straight face, like, look, we're in a war or campaign. I think his exact words were, in a campaign full of unlikely surprises. Unlikely surprises are the most likely scenario.
Yup.
For these orcs, you just have to assume that as soon as you say the word, like, an orky or an orc would never do that, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, because the other option was they ran out of power. They didn't have enough power, or they suffered too many casualties to attack Earth. And he discounted both of those outright, because none of the other attacks had suffered anything even remotely like that. But the only constant is like unorthodox behavior. And you're right. That's the only thing they should expect from now on, and that's the only thing the reader should expect from now on.
Which, is scary, because anytime you have the story of the orcs, it's like the only way you beat them is you let them start fighting themselves, or you take the warlord out and then they start fighting themselves, or you let them burn. It's like, once you can't trust those tactics, it's like, oh God, what do we do now?
Right. I mean, you're right. I can imagine that kind of, makes them think about the conversation they just had, Corlin and Thane, that is. And they're like, oh, so, what happens if we do kill the beast? Will the orcs be dispersed as we think they would be, or is there something else behind this? And I think that's what the Inquisition had. I mean, Veritas's, the Veritas's faction of the Inquisition is concerned about, is that there's something else behind the orcs other than just a really charismatic, powerful orc. Before we get into that, speaking of that, we see our first inklings of another faction in this war, which is really nice to see. I know, looking at the book covers of the upcoming books of the series, there will be lots of more factions involved, but we get the introduction of the Iron Warriors, which is great, because the way they introduce it, the way David Annandale introduces it, made me at least think that we were just going to be introduced to another Space Marine chapter.
Yeah, it was set up so sneakily. So sneaky.
But when you think about it, a lot of Imperial citizens and a lot of people in the world, in the galaxy, don't differentiate between Chaos Space Marines and Space Marines, especially when some Space Marine chapters act like total dickwads.
Yeah. Because that was what made it extra good, because this kind of, to a certain point, this kind of treatment, you wouldn't think that much of it if it was some of the chapters. Until they start just, like, straight up killing people for trying to run away or whatever. But
yeah,
it's not that crazy for treatment of soldiers in the Imperium. So
yeah, if they didn't use any if David Annandale hadn't used any proper nouns and hadn't you had internal monologue throughout the chapters involving the Iron Warriors, I could not have guessed who it was.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known.
Would not have known what chapter it was. They acted just like any other, any other Space Marine chapter could. I mean, look at the Minotaurs, for God's sake. Those guys are jerks.
Yeah. Actually, for me, having just finished Fallen Angels a couple weeks ago, it's like, and like the Iron Warriors are the sneaky Space Marines for me now.
Oh yeah, they're super sneaky in that book.
It's kind of a similar thing, like spoilers for Fallen Angels. Johnson is talking to Perturabo at the end of the book, and you don't know it's Perturabo until the last line.
Oh, really?
Because that's before Perturabo is revealed as a traitor. So he's talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, you take this because we don't want Horus to get it." And then at the very end, like Perturabo smiled, like, "Oh, snap!"
So yeah, Iron Warriors. There were a couple interesting things about that fight. It was a great Orcs versus Space Marines battle. I really enjoyed reading the combat that kind of started at the ground level and then kind of migrated into the sky and into space. It was really an interesting kind of transition, like a full battle from beginning to end with colossi and spaceships and
that aspect of it reminded me of that old Bugs Bunny cartoon where I think it's him and was it Daffy Duck maybe? But they're like, one of them pulls out a bat, so the other guy pulls out a knife, so the other guy pulls out a gun, so the other guy pulls out a cannon, the other guy comes in a tank. Like, it just keeps escalating. It's like, the Thunderhawk showed up. Like, what the hell? Oh god, it's a Gargant! Get away!
Yeah. And, just all the Thunderhawks that died in that battle. It makes me cringe.
It lost almost an entire great company.
Oh yeah, and I thought that was interesting. I didn't realize that they still went by the old monikers, but I guess that makes sense that they would still go by those. The Space Wolves still use that term as well.
Yeah, I just finished the Word Bearers novels, and it's the same thing. It's all great companies.
Now, the really cool part about one of the really cool parts about the battle, I thought, was when the Orcs were fighting, when they were kind of stuck in with the Orcs, and I think it was right after the orbital bombardment of their fortress. What is it, Calcator? Calcator, he's listening. He can hear the Orcs en masse just laughing at them. Just laughing at them. I thought that was really, really cool. Just like this really espousing the brutal whimsy of the Orcs, but in a very serious note, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, they did such a great job of breaking the Iron Warriors' pride down, laughing at them mid-battle, and not to mention the fact that, Calcator specifically says, like, Iron Warriors don't defend, they're immediately put on the back foot, like, charge, run! So that they're just, like, running, they're running from Orcs, and then the Orcs are just making fun of them, like, it's just so brutal.
Yeah, the quote I found compelling was, every Orc that he cut down died with the belief that it, not he, was victorious.
Yep.
It was really cool. And at the end, you find out that a bunch of the Black Templars ships come back to pick them up, and they're like, let's go meet with the rest of the fleet. And they're like, there isn't the rest of the fleet. There's no the rest of the fleet. Orcs. The Orcs attacked us there too, and they're like, no, fucking Black Templars.
Getting it from both sides.
Yep. Oh, freaking Black. And they did mention something about the Iron Warriors in the Space Marines chapters. I just forgot to mention it.
Yeah, they said that the Orcs had opened up a new front, and they thought they were talking about another, like, Space Marine homeworld or something, but they said no, it's near the Eye of Terror.
Right, and I'm wondering, like, at the end of the chapter 12 with the Iron Warriors, when he says we can't fight them both. I'm like, what are we gonna do, sir? Like, well, we can't fight them both. He's like, what does that mean? He's like, it means that we can't fight them both. So I wonder if there's going to be some super heretical allied detachment stuff going on with the Iron Warriors.
Suggesting the unsuggestible.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what's going to... Hey, you know, come the apocalypse. This looks like come the apocalypse.
We've got rules for it. No, yeah, it was just one chapter and it was quick, but Annandale did such a good job of giving you the flavor of the Iron Warriors. Like, there's specifically two parts when they're talking. They're still talking about how they think they were treated unfairly before the heresy. Like, we were the ones that had to fight and die in the mud, and like they bring that up still. And then Calcator, his arm is metal. Like it comes up in a fight with an orc, right? He latches onto his bionic arm with his claw, and the orc thinks he's gonna like go or whatever, and he just looks at him and shoots him.
Yeah,
but
the orc was very surprised.
Yeah, he specifically mentions that he got the bionic arm because it had mutated into a tentacle, so he just sat in his room and cut his arm off, and then like bleeding got up and walked to the apothecary. He's like, nope, we don't do mutations. Like, we're Chaos Space Marines, but we're not in it for the chaos.
Yep, that was really, really cool.
That's one of those scenes, like a couple of scenes in these books, you want to see made into a movie, and just him just sitting on just like a metal, just completely metal bunk, like where he sleeps, and just like cutting through his own arm.
No, better, just like a regular like hacksaw, just.
Oh yeah. Or did you see I think it's like 2 years old maybe now at this point, the Evil Dead remake?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
The girl goes at her own arm with a friggin' electric bread cutter.
Oh my god, that is crazy, dude! This is totally off topic. I totally accidentally dropped a live freaking extension cord into the pool yesterday.
No.
That's
why
water
Adam has a fro now.
I think water tension or surface tension kept the water from going into the plug. But yeah, I gotta be more careful.
or just start swimming in, like, you know, pure was it I can't think of the English word. Like pure, you start using like spring water or whatever that doesn't have any minerals in it. Keep ourselves safe.
So Iron Warriors, that was really cool. I'm very excited to see what comes out of that.
It's so good.
I'm sure it is. Let's switch to Venan now. She's kind of featured early and late in the book, which makes sense for everything that kind of goes on and comes to a head. And her section is kind of anticlimactic. It's more of
in this book especially. I know her name is Venan, but we should refer to her by her proper title, which is a delivery device for Beast Cruel.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's the only reason she's there, is so he can stay in the main part of the story in this book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We start off the book with her still being chased by Veritas's agents, and Cruel basically saves them all. He basically punches. He
saves everybody that's not at the end of his fist.
Yup, just punching people and killing them, and it's funny. Their conversation about him, like, oh, should we keep him around? Like, yeah, he's pretty useful right now. Let's keep him around, and he ends up saving their lives. I'm like, you know what? That was a good idea.
That fight scene where they get ambushed going through those statues is so good.
It is. I can imagine that in a movie. That is really good.
The one line is just like, as Cruel drew his bloodied fist out of the upper spines of his victims.
And the setting, yeah, like all the broken and castaway statuary, and he doesn't even he gives a little bit backstory behind it, where at first it probably was just a temporary place they were putting some statuary, but it had been forgotten, and people just started putting all the statuary here because that seemed like the place where they should go, and then it slowly developed into kind of a ritual place to put statuary, like. Yep. So yeah, that's really cool. Great little details like that.
That type of stuff happens over time too. It's like, why do we do this? I don't know. This is what we've always done. Okay.
Done this. Yep. Yep. It's really cool. So I mean, that part was really nice. The really, I thought that the setup, one of the most interesting descriptions. David Annandale is great at these grand descriptions, and the description of the Rotunda in the Inquisitorial fortress beneath the polar ice cap. It's basically this. You have a giant, like, well, first of all, the hallway, like the hall to get into the thing is this huge cavern, but there's only this like 10 meter wide or 100 meter wide by 1,000 meter long path with like these globes along the side.
Yeah, you're just walking, just bathed in spotlights. Just you so much light, you can't see anything else in the room. You just basically have to trust and walk naked down this huge pathway. No idea what's around you.
If
no
you
way
don't
to defend
belong
against
there,
it.
you are dead. And it turns out, they let Venand in. She's not in trouble yet. I mean, they're definitely talking about her. She's definitely got issues politically, but she's not like been deposed from her position or anything like that. Veritas is certainly kind of not really working on with the full backing of the entirety of the Inquisition. That's for sure.
Yeah, and she had the confidence to make that move based on all the assassination attempts against her. That they mentioned that in The Emperor Expects too. It's like, if he were assured of his power, if he had solid footing, he wouldn't be trying to kill us.
Yep.
So, in a way, kind of Veritas actually gave her the go-ahead to go to the fortress.
Yep, exactly. And again, this Rotunda is so great. It's like you have like trams. It's like a tramway where you have the trams going in different directions, these trains. And in the middle of the room, in like hanging from the ceiling, is this giant gold skull with like rays of light. Well, not light, but rays, like these rays of like cables and gold rays like projecting from it and anchoring it into the ceiling. But the ceiling has a projection of the sky above the polar ice cap. So it gives you the impression that when you walk in, the face of the Emperor is glaring at you from the heavens. I thought that was awesome.
Not to mention, like, talking about earlier about how Annandale was into mythos as well. It's like, I wonder if we're gonna see anything from like Mountains of Madness or any, we're under the South Pole. You say, interesting.
Yeah.
The fact that just that they have this huge structure underground and they're projecting the sky on the ceiling to make you still feel like you're outside and like hiking across it. Like, so good.
And it was still like super cold down there. And when she gets to the
Finally
the room,
gets to the door.
yeah, she gets to the room where she has this meeting. Even this, like, the simple description of the pulpit that she's standing at is like at the top of it, it's that skull again with the rays pointing down and around, and it's like the base of it is a heretic being crushed under the weight of the Emperor's justice. Like, that is so great. That is so great. Like, it's like little just details like that are they're perfect for giving you the feel of the background and of the setting. Or else it could be any other political, story. It could be any other war political story. It's those little touches like that let you know, like, this is kind of a despotic regime. This is steeped in like religion, like a political religion almost.
The gatekeeper as well, Castellan Kober, I want to say his name was. It's like they point out how he's just a normal inquisitor, and they rotate because they don't want the gatekeeper to have to develop political power.
Yeah.
It's like they change it every couple of years or whatever.
Yeah, that is really cool, and he wasn't gonna stop her from going in. He's like, yeah, you do have to, you have some things to talk about, but you're gonna go in, and I love how she just walks in, says, we have stuff to do. You know what I'm asking you to do. Sorry, but it has to be done. And that's it. Let's get to work. And she just walks out, and everybody in the room starts going, "Wait, what?"
Just keeping that theme of authority derives from perception, right? She's not gonna no, yeah, guys, you gotta keep me as a representative. She's like, no, I'm the representative. This is what we're doing. And then if people go along, then she has that power. If not, then she'll be killed. Like there's two choices.
The advertising for book 8 does give away some spoilers, so I don't feel bad about talking about it. But it seems like book 8 introduces the seminal moments of the Death Watch, so I'm guessing that's what she's talking about.
Yeah, I just started it, but I'm not sure if that is what she's talking about, or if they haven't come across it yet.
Okay. So I'm interested to see what she's talking about, what they have up their sleeve that they didn't want to expose until this point, or until it was absolutely necessary. And I assume it's something that they were saving in case they had issues with the Great Enemy. Excellent. So that is Venend, and we will get back with her in the next book, hopefully. So all we have left are the events on Earth. Which is most of the book, to be fair. It really is most of the book. We are about an hour in, but that's all right. We had kind of two different-ish storylines, and that's between Veritas and Varangarich and the Proletarian Crusade. I would say let's save the Proletarian Crusade for our final comments and talk about this weird relationship between Veritas and Varangarich.
Oh, Varangarich is back, baby.
Yeah, he is. He does not. He gives no Fs. The best thing, he sets up a message for Veritas. Veritas is in this meeting with his contemporaries, and they're basically not, they're telling him, we really don't trust you 100%. We're not sure you're on the right path here, and we don't really support killing Venend. And he's like, well, we're going to kill Venend anyways. He doesn't tell them that, but he tells, what's his buddy's name there?
MacTannen.
MacTannen. He tells MacTannen, yeah, we're gonna kill her anyways. And he's like, okay, boss, sure thing. So as he's walking through the Prescription Way, which we had been there before, it's basically where all the a lot of religious types sell parchments and prayers and stuff to passersby. I guess it's almost a tourist trap, actually. Three immediate attempts are made at Veritas's life, or so he thinks at first. I mean, one grazes his head, another one grazes his ear, I think, and his cheek, just las bolts, all in quick succession. And he's kind of caught flat-footed for a second. He's like, I could have. He knows almost immediately that was a message,
but it's not going to change his life choices in regards to wearing or not wearing a helmet.
Yeah, apparently not, right? These people. So, but it does kind of makes him rethink his actions towards Venend. He decides to hold off. He knows that's what. He doesn't know who did it, but he knows why. So,
well, he talking to MacTannen, he immediately puts the blame on Varangarich. Just he's not sure whether or not it was Varangarich acting alone or on Venend's orders.
Or on Venend orders, right. Which leads us to the next scene again, much later in the book, where MacTannen and Venend, or not Venend, MacTannen and Veritas are having a conversation. Like, okay, you're gonna sit here, wait for us to walk by. You're gonna shoot him in his stupid head, right?
But at least they try to be clever about it. He tries to set it up to look like it was an attempt on Veritas's life, but to actually have Varangarich get killed.
Yep, and what's so great about it is Varangarich had been. He had created this routine for himself in order to set up this opportunity for his enemies.
So let his enemies know always where he is, so he'll know where they will set up to kill him.
Yes, and that's something that has been discussed almost since chapter 1 of the book. Of the entire series, where he's going through and, you know, paying lip service to the prayers or to the shrines and stuff. Actually, I'm not so sure it's lip service at this point. I think any of us reading would be doing ourselves a disservice by doubting Vangerich's faith in the Emperor at this point, or at least in the Imperium. Like, during this book, David Annandale does kind of expose a little bit of his thoughts, Vangerich's thoughts in that matter, where Vangerich he worships the Imperium more than the Emperor, I think.
Yeah, he's not a zealot, but he does have faith.
Yeah, but anyways, he's just having this conversation with Veritas. They're just chatting, and Veritas starts to get a little itchy, like looking around, like
he stops suddenly.
Yeah,
because the plan was for him to stop, Vangerich to walk out front, and then Vangerich to get tagged. So Veritas stops, and then they just kind of keep talking.
He's like, were you expecting anyone? And Veritas goes, no. And he goes, good. I wouldn't expect them.
I wouldn't expect coming.
They won't. Yeah. Oh, good. They won't be coming. Yeah.
Dude, that's one of the biggest oh snap moments in this whole series. Just deadpan, yeah, they're not coming. Sorry.
And yeah, Beast Cruel punched him through his torso,
and it wasn't just a punch. It was Mac Tannen felt this sharp pain, and he wondered why he wasn't flying across the room. And then he realized it was because the fist went through his chest, and his heart was gone. Oh my god! But I mean, it sets up just how crazy Cruel is, because Mac Tannen has plenty of
he's got many augments.
It even I kind of want to talk to David Annandale about this, because this is one of those what moments, but it specifically says that before, Mac Tannen was so fast that he had deflected a bolter shell with the edge of his hand.
Yes.
Somebody shot him and he was like, nope.
Noink.
And
yeah.
Still, Cruel is faster. Cruel is fast to the point where somebody that is jacked up like Mac Tannen, Cruel still seems superhuman to him.
Uh-huh.
Yep. How many degrees of separation is there between Cruel and a normal person?
I don't know. I'm wondering if Cruel might have some psychic ability.
Dude, so when we eventually make my dream on the table scenario, Cruel stats are just going to be you take an Aversir assassin and double all the numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when we do the on your tabletop for this, the more I read about Beast Cruel, the more I feel like we're going to break the system with his very existence.
Inbuilt 2+ rerollable.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Hits on 2s with a reroll.
So I'm really pleased with Vangerich at this point. I think that's really great. Now, he does feel as if he's kind of failed the Imperium by the end of the book, though. Yeah. And, he has reason to believe that, because, even after all he did, he couldn't stop kind of the tragedies that are set up for the rest of the book. And one of them, or the primary of them, being the Proletarian Crusade, which, when that phrase first popped up out of Juskina Tall's face, she's the Chartist captain, or the leader of the Chartist captains?
Representative of the Chartist captains.
Yeah, so she's basically the leader of the rogue traders, basically. I think. Pretty sure. So she's got all of the kind of all of the she's under the command of kind of the war machines of the Imperium. So any ships that ply through space doing trade, a business,
yeah, she's one of the few non-military leaders that has any power.
Right. Between her and the Administratum, that's pretty much it. and she has this crazy idea of, with the fleets not being able to show up in time, and there not being nearly enough Imperial Guard on the planet, to load up civilians into, thousands of transport ships, flying them at the moon and attacking on the ground.
In what scenario does this work? Like, I understand the numbers, but dude.
This is a very good lesson for any reader of Warhammer fiction, that history is very important to take into account when you're planning for the future. The moment I saw Proletarian Crusade, I'm like, oh god, this is a parallel of the Children's Crusade. This is going to end in a freaking bloodbath, right? But the great thing about the way David Annandale kind of weaved this story, I kind of was right with the Crusaders. I was right with the captain. What was his name? Whatever the case.
Narcissus?
Narcissus. Yeah, I was right there with Narcissus, and where I was feeling the hope that maybe something might happen here.
Even through his dejection, he gets it back halfway through. Like, when he sees just how many ships are, it's like, oh yeah, we might make it. We're gonna make it.
Yep. And I mean, let's not downplay his abilities. Like, his ship they did a great job. They kind of hid in the engine wash of one of the bulk freighters. This little ship called the Militant Fire. Yeah, hides in the engine wash of one of the bulk freighters, and they kind of, instead of blasting for the moon, they kind of jump from big ship to big ship, because all the orcs near those big ships were just focused on attacking the big ships. So they kind of did this hopscotch maneuver where they were hiding behind the big ships, and they did make it to the surface, along with millions of other troopers. Now, I had this thought that maybe after they landed and this door opens, like lava or molten metal was going to pour out and everybody was going to die. I mean, the orcs did come out and fight them, and they had this moment of yay.
Nothing as clean as that.
No, well, I mean, this is great, right? Like the orcs send a bunch of infantry out to fight them, and along with some tanks, and they're like, yeah, let's do this, and they fight them, and they're excited, and they start chasing the orcs down. I'm like, wait, no, hold on, and they start routing the orcs, and that is the problem. They, everybody who's listening to this knows, what happens next. And
orcs wouldn't set a trap like that. What are you talking about?
Right? Yeah.
Orcs don't do that.
At the end, like, one of the aspect characters, what are they called? Point of view characters, Haas, who is a Arbeits officer. She does make it to the door as it's closing, but she has to ride a wave of gelatinized
She is the only one to make it.
And I'm not sure if she's still alive, but down in the
oh yeah, we see her. We see her.
We
again.
leave her listening to the sounds of guttural laughter. So she's
just covered in blood.
Oh man, just like the two sides of the valley crushing millions of people, and her riding a wave of their blood. That was pretty dark. They
do mention that they could actually see that action from Terra. They could see the mountain range coming together. Right. And Vangrich is like, oh right, duh. Because they had all seen the picked recordings of the Orc Moon from the first book, like talking like, oh yeah, we should have realized they could do this.
At first, I thought David Annandale was going to jump the shark and make the moon transform into a giant robot and go nothing quite like that.
My name is Unicrork.
Unicrork, yes. No, we have to wait for 5 moons to get together so they can each transform into a body part.
There you go.
And it could be a 5. Yeah, that would be we could combine Voltron and
somebody go resurrect Orson Welles real quick.
Yes. Only if we can also resurrect Leonard Nimoy to play the second fiddle hero.
I think Leonard Nimoy's probably still in better condition than Orson Welles.
Oh, most certainly. Orson Welles burst out of his casket years ago. Anyways, so that was really interesting. That was just an abject failure. And Vangerich comes walking into... Oh, this whole time I thought it was interesting. They have been using the main meeting room for the Senate this whole book. And... more of the Imperial kind of decision makers have had a say in things that are going on, and I think a lot of it is because some of the main players don't want to take full responsibility for everything that's happening.
Yeah. Also, a number of the other meeting places they declared unsafe.
Yeah.
Vangerich is kind of talking about that, ostensibly it's because to get people involved, but they just want to spread the blame for one, and then two, some of the other smaller ones, they were up on balconies or something like that. It's we don't want to be able to see the moon when we're having our meetings.
Yeah, so, anyways, he comes in there, and he's, I don't remember the conversation, but there is quite a bit of I told you so going on at this point. But he also is feeling very much like he very much feels like he's let the Imperium down. And, I think it's good for the character to express those things, because it helps to know that even though Vangerich is the master of assassins, he still thinks of himself as an Imperial citizen. He's a part of the machine. He's not just a guy who likes to kill people.
Yeah, it sets up a good foil, because all the other High Lords, especially like Lansing, it's like that. This is literally their duty, and they're shirking their responsibility. Whereas Vangerich, that's not his responsibility. He's just a killer. They even point out to him, you don't make decisions, you don't decide policy, you're just there to execute the will of the High Lords. So, this shit show isn't his responsibility, but he still feels responsible for it. He is so much more, the type of character that you can identify with and root for than any of the other High Lords. They all need to be executed.
They really need it. I mean, if anybody needs executing, these people do. Now, the Militant Fire and Captain Narcissus survive the tragedy of the Proletarian Crusade.
Make their way back to Terra.
They make their way back to Terra unharmed, which is very interesting to the Imperium. And I think that the kind of the exchanges are very interesting. Where I guess what's his name? The churchy guy. What's his name? Mezering is praying. He's saying this must mean that that there was some kind of success, or you can't escape the Orcs or whatever.
Yeah, it's a symbol.
Yeah, a symbol.
Even if the Orcs crush you, you can still survive.
Right. And Vangerich very much he kind of points out the fact that no matter how much power the Mezering has, that's all he'll have is this empty faith, and I thought that was a really interesting little vignette in there.
Yeah, Mezering is going to turn out to be a very interesting character. I think it's starting to build up to it in Watchers in Death, but he's got something coming, I think.
All right, cool. So.
There's a line in Last Wall. It's Or maybe it wasn't last fall. Okay, I won't say anything. I'm not 100% sure it's last fall.
All right. So, I mean, let's cut to the chase. We get 3 ambassadors from the Orc Moon, which is great. They come walking into the Senate with Vangrich and Captain Narcissos leading them, and one of them, I forgot who it was, says, "What are you, their interpreter?" And the Orcs are like, "We don't need an interpreter." Like,
yeah,
you can say the word interpreter.
Well, yeah, because there's like, how did he learn to speak Orc? He's like, I didn't.
I don't know. It's so cool. This dude, Bezrak, he's got this big staff, and it's got a big orc skull at the top, and it's got all kinds of other
Eldar
races,
skulls and,
Eldar, human, other alien races that they've never seen before. And Vangrich actually says it's like one of the most beautiful pieces of orc, I guess.
Yeah, by the standards of orcs, it would be like a masterpiece.
A masterpiece, right? Yeah, and he basically gives them an ultimatum. Bezrak, he says, you die. You either give up and live, or you die. Your choice.
His use of verbiage is great too, because I like how it says, like, he basically speaks like unaccented, like really clear Gothic, but he still uses orky words. Like,
yes,
the beast has got you by the guts.
Yes, exactly. And when I've been doing a little bit of writing and stuff, and that's kind of the way I've been going a little bit. So I think I'm glad that that's kind of how Annandale is doing it. When you have an orc who's extraordinary, he'll still have his own dialect, I think, which I think is cool. The craziness that erupts in the room after he says that is, it's amazing how Annandale kind of uses Vangrich's point of view, and I kept on rooting for Vangrich to just say something. Just say something. Take control of the situation. Come on, Vangrich, take control of the situation. Buy the time you need, right? And he doesn't, because he feels like after listening to the Senate bicker and not respond to this orc, and watching the silent dignity of the orc standing in front of them, he thinks, you know what? We do not deserve to live. We deserve whatever we get. That's the reason he doesn't speak up, because he feels like, in some way he feels like the orcs in that moment, that's when they won, because
they switched positions. Like we're being out imperiumed by orcs. Like, okay, we're done. Good game, everybody. Throw in the towel.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah. When that happened, it was basically a sign. It was a sign to him that the Imperium did not deserve to continue. When the orcs were showing greater dignity and decorum than those who supposedly were in control of the greatest government in galactic history.
You got Terran High Lords that are just like wordlessly screaming, like, nah, what are we gonna do? Nah, they're just like, like no. You almost wanted half of them to start just like,
and the others just spitting at the orcs, screaming at them, telling them, we'll never bow, whatever. And the orcs like, all right, I guess peace out then, because that's what you want. And they just silently walk out of the room. It was a pretty interesting. I can't wait to read more about Bezrak and his allies. None of them were carrying weapons. None of them. Like, the very concept of an orc ambassador goes against everything that we've been taught. So, very interesting. I'm very excited for the next book. I'm going to go on Amazon tonight and have it come. I really feel like we need at least a month break. I'm not sure. Let's talk about it more after we have some commercials. Greetings, mofos.
are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Well, don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 Hour a Night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det ikke en bikkje, det en slags ting. Den imiterer en bikkje, men det ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said.
Hey everyone, this is Justin from the It Will Not Die podcast. If you love listening to podcasts that are positive and excited about the hobby, come check us out. We're on the Freebooters Network now, along with other great podcasts like The Independent Characters, 40K Radio, D6 Generation, Nerd Herders, and many more. And remember, it doesn't matter how you love the hobby, just do it.
Nailed it.
All right, James, thank you so much for joining me again. I really appreciate it. What do you think think of the last? Is this your first David Annandale book?
I'm not sure.
Did you ever read any of the Black Dragon stuff or any of the Yarick books?
No, I want to say I may have read one of his short stories, but as far as full-size novels go, yeah. Mm-hmm. I just started Watchers in Death yesterday, I want to say, so that'll make number 2. Mm-hmm. But I really like his writing style. This book, Last Wall, was excellent.
His writing style reminds me of Stephen King a little bit, where it's not quite Hemingway in nature, which is very, very basic, but it's clean. He writes clean. And I personally appreciate. I'm not saying other authors aren't good. I have no problem. All of the other books have been great, but I like the clean way he puts facts on the page, and when he embellishes, there's such beauty in the embellishments that
it makes him a good combat writer. The fighting scenes, especially that ambush with Cruel and Vienna and everything, that was so well written. Just had a lot of cool, like the imagery evoked by the statues and everything. It was a really good scene.
Right, yeah, and a lot of like the imagery is all based on what happens in the story. There's not he doesn't tell you anything you don't need to know. And that's a great way. I think that's a great way to write. It's the way I appreciate. I like it a lot. Annandale is still my favorite of the some of his books that I've read have still been my favorites. So I really appreciate his the way he really tries to get strong female voices in his books. And I think
Haas, right?
Haas is great.
Foiled with her completely coward, yellow-hearted companion, Cord.
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
We skipped that scene.
Yeah, we did.
What was it? Who's the Inquisitor? Oh, no, Commissar Sever.
It's Commissar Sever pops him in the head, and she goes, "Thank you for upholding the honor of the Arbites."
That was such a good scene. He's like, "Trooper, draw your weapon and disembark immediately." But bang.
Oh, so good. She says it to him with blood all over her too. She's like, "Thank you for upholding her honor."
On her face.
She's got her friend's blood on her. This is great.
Yeah, she's the only one that makes it through the Proletarian Crusade. So more strong female characters in 40K. Excellent.
Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to bring it up again when we're going to have an interview with David Annandale next weekend. I hope you can make it, because I'm going to ask him. I'm going to be like, "Listen, David Annandale, you and Gav Thorpe, all you got, you just bring it to GW. Be great if you guys could write us a nice Sisters of Battle Codex. You could
series of novels as well." But to be fair, he doesn't just put them up on a pedestal too, because the big shithead in the book was Tull. So
yeah, and that's definitely going to be something I want to talk to him about, is like the difficulty in these days, all of how us as males, who grew up in the 90s and stuff, our instinct is to write strong female characters, and it might actually be harder to write them with their flaws. You know, so I think that's kind of some of the questions I want to explore with David when we talk to him. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can make it yet. If I can, definitely. But.
Okay, cool. Yeah, be sure to send me any questions. Oh, I wanted to actually ask the listeners. Actually, it'll be too late, so I'm gonna actually on the website or on the Facebook page, I'm gonna actually ask the listeners to send me any questions they might have for David Annandale. I'm gonna start doing that for the books that we do, because I think it would be it would be really cool if we could get, you know, some questions from the listeners. They might have some interesting questions they might have for the authors. So I'm going to go ahead.
Didn't think of.
Yeah, exactly. And that might actually, get some more questions going than just the ones that, you know, they ask. So
sure.
Yeah, we'll do that. So thanks again. Do you have anything coming up for your game club that you want to talk about? This will be, I think early September when this releases.
Well, we actually have a ITC tournament in Hilo on the other side of the island, and then I think there's going to be another ITC tournament in Honolulu at the end of November. So if anybody is looking to go to a tournament and wants to sell it to their significant other that, hey, we're going to Hawaii, get in touch with me, and I'll see if I can hook you up with a place to stay or at least transportation while you're here.
How much, or you mean like your house, or as a tour guide type person with connections to the island?
That type of thing, yeah. No,
okay, I was going to say, what?
Random 40K weirdos staying in my house. No.
I mean, do you have a guest room? Because
no. Yeah. Well, I've been inside your house, so
that's true.
If you and Wendy would like to come to Hawaii, that's one thing.
Woo! All right, one day we're going to Hawaii.
Our guest room is currently full of blood angels and orcs, so
we'll feel right at home.
Although knowing you, that'll probably help you sleep better. Actually, I guess.
Okay, great, awesome. So, all right, I'm gonna just cut it short here. We don't need to go through the usual rigmarole. I'm gonna sign off and get out of this freaking sweat box. Like, I could, if I got one of those like plastic scrapers, I could actually just take a shower by scraping the gross off me at this point.
Are you in Aiel? I don't think that works for anybody. But
yes. Oh. James, that's great.
Nerddom crossover alert.
Yes, that is exactly what I was thinking of when I said that. That is awesome. Oh man. Okay. Well, thanks again for joining us. Until next time, play the game the way you want to.
This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial, International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We will too.